Okay, so last time we left off here talking about the way CSS is written with the selector, the property, and the value. So what I want to do, let me see if this is open. Okay, great. This is the file from our simple web page. This is the index.html file with our HTML. And here's our style.css. Right now, this is kind of just playing around. I'm actually gonna take that out. So let's go to the next one here. Okay, so the declaration is the property and the value that you use. So this would be the selector body. It could also be, paragraph, list, li, like a list item. It could be a heading, and there's other things, we'll get to that very shortly, what it could be. So then say something like background color. That would be the property. And then the value, there's different ways you can show colors with RGB or hexadecimal, but we'll just do blue. Okay? And notice that the way this is set up, after the selector, there is an open bracket, and then after the property background color, you put a colon, and then at the end of blue, the value, you put a semicolon. And that's how all CSS is written, with the open brackets, the indentation, the colon, and then the semicolon at the end. So let's do another one. Let's say P, so that we got the paragraphs, right? The brackets, enter. Sublime text is nice because it automatically tabs for you. And then this time I'm going to put color, and now color will be the text color. Also notice that Sublime Text will do these automatic fill-ins for you. So color, let's do green. All right, great. So again, this kind of reiterates that how it ends with a semicolon, the declaration. So this entire portion is the this entire portion is the declaration, right? And it ends with the semicolon. And it's wrapped around brackets. Okay. So now we're going to get to some, no, this is really just what I was showing you. Say for instance, the P, the property, the value, an image, for instance, the brackets, property, colon, value, semicolon, and a bracket, okay? And that would just select all the images in the entire document if you just put that. And then for the P, that would affect all of the, everything that was in a P tag in the entire document or documents. Okay, so now we're moving on. So this is called an ID selector. I'm going to show this to you, so I think this will make more sense. And then I'm going to show you another one, then I'll give more explanation on the differences. So, okay, let's go to the, see, now actually with HTML5, there are these footer elements already. You don't have to do an ID, but in the past, you used to have to with the footer. But nonetheless, a lot of times, like, I'll do it, especially if you have multiple footers. Some websites have different footers depending on the page. So I'm going to actually do that. I'll do ID equals footer home. Maybe, this is the home page. The footer is a bit different, right? So this is how you kind of, in the HTML, right? You do ID, an equal sign, and then the quotations, and footer home, or you can really name it whatever you want. But you should name your IDs something that kind of represents what it stands for. So this is the footer on the home page, hence I'm going to name it footer home. And you can't start IDs off with numbers. That won't work. But really any kind of name is fair game. But just remember, once you kind of use that name, you can't reuse it, or else it'll overwrite it. Okay, so back to the HTML. So what we did, ID, footer, home, and then this is how you would call it in the CSS. With an ID, you use a hash or a hashtag sign, footer, home, brackets. Let me think. I want to do, oops. Uh-oh, my computer's like, font size 10 pixels. Let's make it, smaller than the normal paragraph text, okay? Save. Okay, great. So that's you kind of see this here. That's an example of a footer. And you know what? This is actually wrong. This would be in a footer. And then this could also be in a p tag. But now, again, with HTML5, you use footer tags to symbolize like the footer. That wasn't the case before. Okay, so the next selector is a class. Okay, so we have IDs, which we just talked about, and you use the hashtag to kind of call it in the HTML or in the CSS. Now we're going to talk about classes. Hold on, I'm going to pause it for 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. Oh, whoops, I did not fix that. That's not supposed to be that. With a class of warning. So that's supposed to say, copy and pasted that from the other slide. Okay, so classes are very similar to IDs. I'm going to do an example again to kind of show you how it works. But now, say if I'm in, let's see here. Okay, so I'm in my file and I want to do a class. Okay, and I want to do, I'm sorry, my throat. I want to do a class of, wait a second. I want to do a class of home page image. Okay. So then here, so notice, okay, instead of saying ID, that's ID equals footer home, it says class equals home page image, okay? And when you now call it back in the CSS file, instead of using the hashtag, you would use a period. So what do I mean then again? Period, homepage, image. And then for this, you can, there's different, what the heck is it? Properties and values you can do to an image. But let's just say, I don't even know, with 50%. So it make it half the size it is. This is just kind of an example to show you what's going on. It's not exactly, wouldn't necessarily look good or even look great or something if we actually apply it to the web page. Okay, so now you're probably thinking, all right, so what the heck is the difference between an ID and a class? So a rule of thumb, and I say that like with quotation marks, is that you should only apply one ID per web page to one element. So like with the footer, you should only apply that footer ID on the page once, to the footer. And a class is different because there can be lots of elements on the page with that class. So say if we had a bunch of different images on the page and we wanted to add the homepage image class, that would be fine. But, I know that sounds really vague, and honestly, I don't even know myself that much about the differences. I just kind of know it's a reason you just shouldn't do it. So I found this article, but mind you, it's from 2008. And this blog is awesome, csstricks.com. Again, from 2008, a little outdated, but he does a good job, I think. And it's a pretty long article explaining, but he says, exactly kind of what I just said. But then right here, he says, some people don't think it really means anything because your code can work even if you have multiple IDs on a page. But basically, he's saying here it won't pass, validation, and that should be important to us. And I like the example. He doesn't really give an example here, but the one he gives of the classes You know, you can see widget, 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 and you can use it multiple times, right? And the other thing is, I really like this too. You can, you know, and I don't even think of this before, but yeah, you can apply more than one class to an element. So see here how it says widget big. You can apply like a bunch. Like you could just be like widget, big, green, blue, like all the different classes you set up. You could do almost unlimited amount. You could apply it to the HTML element. Anyways, this article is really good. It's long. It goes into a few things. He talks about this barcode and serial number difference. He then basically says you can, oh yeah, and elements can have both. So you can have, like right here, he has a list with an ID and a class. And as far as like the rules and what you can do with each, it's really the same with CSS. And then he goes on with JavaScript. I'm not going to go through all this right now, but I'll add this link into the video description below so you can take a look at it because it's pretty cool. Anyways, I'm already at 11 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks for watching, and next time definitely going to continue with more CSS and more of these kinds of basics.